2 years, 50 episodes. Thank you so much for being one of our longtime listeners. If you want to take a more active role in supporting the show, you can always, of course, write in. We love to get fan mail from you. We love to answer your questions. Or you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/shadesansketch. You can support the show for as little as $1, and we're giving you all kinds of goodies, exclusive content, exclusive episodes, episode art. It's all there for you. On to this week's episode.
Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is
Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch.
Happy Halloween, long-time listeners. Did we scare you? Shades, this is our third Halloween episode.
It is.
Isn't that awesome?
It's amazing.
So guys, every time you join us in a different corner of the Geeking Out multiverse. And around Halloween, it's always in a super spooky area of the Geeking Out multiverse. If you've been following along at home, we've done zombies and we've done ghosts. And this year for Halloween, where are we, Shades?
Well, Sketch, we have bent time, space, reality, and dimension to the netherworld. Spooky.
Not as spooky as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's a more
lot of waiting.
Very bureaucratic here.
Yeah. Just been in this waiting room. Feels like an eternity.
What number do you have?
I have 7.
7.
Yeah, what are you? We should be like one right after each other.
You
8?
Do you want to trade?
Why? What are you?
8,750,000.
No, I'm going to keep mine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What's that over there? I think it's Elvis. Well, longtime listeners.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
If we are in the netherworld.
Yeah, waiting our turn.
With the ghost with the most.
Your case manager.
Juno. Good people. We must be talking about Beetlejuice. Don't say it again.
Oh, it's just a
Does that count as 1 or 2?
Name. That counts as 1.
Okay.
I think each person needs to say, like, we couldn't just say it back and forth. We have to be very careful this episode.
Yeah.
Not to say it 3 times in a row without the other person.
Correct.
Yeah. So if we are talking about
Beetlejuice,
that must
mean.
Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
Do we have a theme song?
I think we do.
Okay. Do we have Deo? He said Deo. Daylight come and you wanna go home. Perfect. That's spooky.
Yeah,
that's what that is. That's spooky. So, guys, if we are talking Beetlejuice, we're going to spoilers for
Beetlejuice, for the careers of Tim Burton, Winona Ryder, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Catherine O'Hara.
We'll get to our own histories in just a second.
Yeah.
I forgot how many people were on this.
What a cast!
What a cast!
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
What a cast!
Honest to goodness. Also might spoil the animated show.
The animated, yes. Possibly some video games. Maybe a Broadway musical.
Yeah, and Life After Death.
Yes.
But it's not much of a life.
Oh, yeah.
Really. But it's not really death.
Not really death either.
Neither.
It's
like neither.
Yeah. It's a neither world.
It's like a neither world.
Yeah.
I like it.
See what they did there?
I do.
Trademark, copyright.
Yeah. Yeah. What a spooky, self-contained movie.
Wow.
I love it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So, let's just launch right into Beetlejuice.
Sure. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with
our
personal histories of Beetlejuice.
You know, yeah, it's an interesting one. Sketch, why don't you start?
Okay. First, tell me this answer.
Sure.
What year did this come out?
1988.
88. So I did not see this in theater.
I also did not see it in theater.
Don't think I saw this as a child. It wasn't. Probably my first memory of Beetlejuice is like middle school.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I had ever seen the whole thing all at once until last night when I watched it.
My notes started off with, I don't think I ever saw the beginning of
this movie. I had never seen the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
Sketch. I had said that when I was watching it with Elise. I don't think I had ever seen the Maitlands die.
My first clear memory of like the first scene is the new family moving
in. I wonder if that's the TV edit, because I've only ever seen it on TV.
I've only ever seen it on TV too.
Oh, wow.
Huh. But now we've both watched the
long-time listeners, write in if you have definitive answers for this. Was the TV edit started with the new family moving in?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this.
We didn't talk about this beforehand.
Yeah, but so probably like in middle school, so the first time I saw it on TV, it was a trip for sure.
Wow.
But I probably only, bumped into it every once in a while. What my big Beetlejuice history is with the animated show. I watched that like crazy. Was that Fox Kids?
It started on ABC, and then the last season was on Fox.
Okay.
And then it ran in syndication on Nickelodeon, of all things.
I definitely have stronger memories of that show. However, like if you were to ask me now, like what I remember about it, very little.
It was my big memory with the animated series was it was very much Rick and Morty.
Oh, sure.
With like Beetlejuice being the I gotta be careful. I did it again.
You gotta be so careful.
With B being kind of like the
Mr.
guy.
J?
Yeah. The kind of kooky sidekick, but also mentor to Lydia in the Netherverse.
Like the guide through the underworld or the netherworld or whatever you want to call it. And much more of a
buddy comedy.
Yeah. So that I forgot about that when I watched the movie. That it's not really
not a buddy comedy at all.
There's not a lot of consent between the two characters. There's barely a relationship between the two characters.
Zero.
As a matter of fact. And then most recently, this past summer, did I ever tell you the story?
No.
Did I tell you the story?
I have no idea what you're about to say.
Okay. So this past summer, I was in one of my favorite states, probably my favorite state, Vermont. I'm a big fan of Vermont. And I was
okay. Yeah.
So I was with a friend of mine,
this.
and he really wanted to visit the town where Beetlejuice was filmed. Yeah. Because even though it's set in Connecticut, East Corinth, Vermont is where it was filmed. And so we looked it up. And we went there, and it was quite the journey because
it's got to be in the middle of nowhere.
It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and GPS coverage is spotty up there.
Yeah,
and we were in this big SUV thing, and it had us take this turn, and it was like a dirt road, like you'd expect in Vermont.
Sure,
there's tons of them, and it just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually it turned into just like an ATV trail. That's when we had to turn around because it was not going. We were not going any further down that road.
The whole town was sucked down into the netherworld?
I think it was.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we got back on track once we got back into service range, and we did make it to the town, and it's practically unchanged.
Looks exactly like the movie.
Yes. Now, when we were in the town, nothing was looking familiar to me, and it makes sense now because I don't think I ever saw the beginning of the
movie. Yeah.
But so a couple changes. The house is not real.
Right.
The house was just a facade that they built.
Constructed for it.
I don't know if the covered bridge was real or if it was constructed for the movie.
I'm going to go with no because they
destroyed
a version of it. Yeah.
And whatever bridge was there during the time of shooting isn't there anymore. There's a new bridge because Hurricane Irene gutted so many bridges in Vermont. But the hardware store is still there.
Okay.
It's run down.
Is it called Maitland's?
No.
Okay.
I don't even think it's. If I remember right, I don't even think it was a open store anymore. But
sad.
The storefront was still there. The school that Lydia comes out of is there. The library, which you saw in a shot, is there.
They make a big deal of the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so
I don't know why.
I mean, it's pretty. It's it's way out there.
Yeah.
You're not going to run into this town, but if you want to take
it's there.
The short trip to East Corinth.
How short?
Okay.
As the crow flies.
When we left, we were almost practically back on the highway. So it's because we were coming at it from Montpelier and GPS just took us through back roads.
As the crow flies.
For whatever reason. that we got all discombobulated. If we had just stayed on 89, it had to have been 10 or 15 minutes off of I-89.
That's amazing.
So
you had an adventure.
But we had an adventure. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And then I had the experience of going, none of this looks familiar to me.
Right.
And then watching the movie and going, I don't think I ever saw the beginning of this. These are all the exact same.
Right.
No wonder.
Right.
People go there to see this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just if that ends your history sketch.
Yeah. And then I watched it.
Yeah.
And I watched it
Finally.
like last week.
Yeah. I don't think I had ever seen the beginning of the movie.
That is so
I don't think I watched it all the way through, and I don't think I've ever seen it except for bits and pieces on like Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Or
that's
Sci-Fi.
like definitely where I saw it, like Comedy Central.
Something like that, late at night.
Yeah.
In like the late 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah.
Until I watched it last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd watched quite a bit of the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was very well done.
It was
I remember.
quality. I looked up.
It ran for 4 seasons.
Just to like refresh my
The
memory.
opening was like
the opening was a high quality
bonkers.
production.
It really is.
Like
yeah.
The animation on that is
it was well done.
Solid,
I mean, it's back in the day when I'll tell you, it ran from 89 to 91.
Okay.
4 seasons. And that's, this is right around the time of Real Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles. Like, that's high quality animation.
Yeah.
It was the new wave of animation after like the G.I. Joes and the My Little Ponies and Mr. Potato Head of the 80s. Like, they really upped the quality of animation as more Japanese animation was making its way into mainstream America.
Right. I also remember they had one of the first like computer generated creatures. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
That's like one of the first places we
end of story saw computer
animation was the Beetlejuice animated television show.
Yep. And it's just wild.
Yeah.
And it's high quality. It's hard to find now.
Yeah.
I was
watching some clips on YouTube.
Bits and pieces on YouTube, I was going to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I've seen the Beetlejuice Spectacular at Universal Studios. That's a good time.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they do
was
like
a live show?
It's a live show.
Okay.
He like plays guitar and rocks out with the classic movie monsters. It's a good time.
Michael Keaton?
Yeah, it was for a while there his career was in a slump.
Yeah. So he was doing what was it called? The Beetlejuice?
I think it's like the Beetlejuice something, spectacular undead review or something like. Nice. I can't remember what it's called.
Beetlejuice Into the Dark or whatever they call that Spider-Man show.
But it was like, a stage show.
Okay.
And it was good. It was high quality.
Yeah. How old were you when you saw it? That'll be key.
20.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's on par with like the Indiana Jones Spectacular at Disney.
Cool.
It was pretty well done. I would say it was actually probably better in some regards.
This is literally the first I've ever heard of this.
Oh, I don't know if they still do it, but as of 2005, they were still doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Should we do some Beetlejuice history?
Yeah, now let's get into, now that our history's done.
This is wild sketch.
I'm legit looking forward to this. A lot of times I tune out this part of the episode. A lot of times I leave the GoCo.
I'm just
for a
sitting here talking to myself. I'm now in the GoCo by myself, talking to myself.
And that's chaos.
That is chaos. This blew my mind when I was researching this. After the financial success of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Tim Burton was considered bankable and thus handed just about every script coming through Warner Brothers in the 1980s. He was utterly disheartened with the lack of originality of the scripts. At the same time, he was also writing the Batman movie. While Warner was willing to pay him to develop the script, they were still not ready to greenlight the movie, and that left him in limbo. So it's 1985. He's just done Pee-wee's Big Adventure. His next movie is supposed to be Batman, and they won't let him make it.
Wow.
Like, he's writing the script. He's already been slated to direct, but they won't greenlight production.
We need to add Pee-wee's Big Adventure to the docket.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just a short segue. I remember the beginning of that movie with his like funhouse fire pole.
Yeah.
You'll love like the Rube Goldberg machine that is like his morning routine. And I didn't know Tim Burton directed that until I did the research for this. And I'm like, oh, that's clearly a Tim Burton movie.
It was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Right now when you said it.
Yeah, but
I thought, ooh, was that something I was supposed to know?
And it's clearly a Tim Burton movie now that I'm thinking of it. There's a scene in that movie that just terrifies me during like this pseudo dream sequence, and it's so obviously Tim Burton.
Now, little known fact, they always used to play it on television, the first 20 minutes of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and then the rest of Beetlejuice. I think that's what happened.
That's what happened, yeah. Clearly.
Okay.
So it's 1987.
Okay. What a year.
And
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, it is. David Geffen, former studio head of Warner Brothers, he left in 1978, formed his own production company, Geffen Records, Geffen Movies. David Geffen approaches Tim Burton and puts the script for Beetlejuice in his hand.
Okay.
And the rest is history. It was everything that Burton had imagined of directing. It's new, it's original, it's funny, it's scary. He did tweak the script a little bit with a couple of his writers, and he conjures this pseudo B-movie world in the vein of the movies that he grew up watching and the animation stylings of animations in the late 50s, early 60s when he's coming of age as a child. And conjures this pseudo B-movie kind of artificial but cheap, quaint world. And it was always his intent to do Beetlejuice in that vein, using a combination of stop motion, replacement animation, prosthetics, and puppetry on a blue screen. The budget provided only $1 million for effects.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you've seen the movie, just think about this. Every special and visual effects that you see in Beetlejuice was done for less than $1 million.
And there's a lot of them.
There is so much going on. And I don't think there's any computer generated effects in that movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking back.
I think they're all stop motion or blue screen and practical.
Yep.
And
just
stop
good
motion
old-fashioned
prosthetics.
movie magic.
Yeah.
The stop motion stuff is so good.
It's
for a movie like
this. It's
because there is a certain creep factor to stop motion,
is.
and it just lends itself so well
It
to
is.
this.
Like all of their facial manipulations are done with stop motion, and it's terrifying. I was thinking of the one when Gina Davis, like her eyes come out through her mouth.
Yep.
And it's that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, because I want to talk about those.
The movie began filming in early 1987 and wrapped by mid-year. The movie came out in 1988. I didn't write down the month.
That's okay. Sometime in
1988.
Probably around Halloween.
Probably around Halloween. Maybe not.
Maybe not. We have a 1 in 12 shot at that.
I goofed on that.
That's okay.
Beetlejuice spawned an animated series, 4 video games, and a Broadway musical. After 5 years...
vaguely remembering that there was a Broadway musical.
It's still going. It's touring.
No,
it's coming to PPAC soon.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a funny
You want to go?
name. PPAC.
Providence Performing Arts Center. You want to go?
Yeah, let me know when it comes through.
Okay, we'll do.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
That had to be
right in to see Beetlejuice the musical with Shades and Sketch.
Oh, that'd be fun.
If we get tickets.
Yeah, totally. Guys, you get the tickets. We'll come with you. And after 5 years of development, Warner Brothers stated in 2019 that the sequel had been permanently shelved. Oh, no. Really?
So at different times, in 1991,
I thought that was going somewhere else.
They had pitched a sequel.
Yeah.
Like Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Yep. I remember hearing about that.
And Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton both said they would do it. And then they kind of realized this is as near a perfect movie as we've ever made. Mm-hmm. Like, why would we destroy it with this kitsch? That kind of fell apart. And then with the popularity of Stranger Things, the resurgence of Winona Ryder's career, with the resurgence of Michael Keaton's career with Birdman, and then Spider-Man Homecoming, these personalities once again were perceived to be bankable. They tried to put it together. It's unclear as to what happened, but Burton, Ryder, and Keaton all said that they wouldn't do it without any of them being involved.
Yep.
And it seems,
all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, it seems like Michael Keaton might have been the person who either couldn't make it work with a schedule or decided he didn't want to do it.
Well, the issue right now with Michael Keaton is he has a clause in his contract that says he'll only be involved with characters that are based on flying animals. Your Batman, your Birdman, and your
Vulture men.
So,
yeah,
he's in 2021, he's playing Sugar Glider. We know that.
Well, I heard a rumor that he's going to play an older Bruce Wayne in the DC cinematic universe.
110%.
I heard it's 100% an internet rumor, but internet rumors have a way of now being true because the internet is so porous with like social media and
also
everything that leaks.
And also
they
sometimes these rumors like push into reality. Like,
and sometimes these rumors are like people dropping things that have already been committed. Like I'm thinking back to Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Bill Murray went on late night with
one of the late night people,
David Letterman, and was like, "Oh, I think they should do an all-female Ghostbusters, and Melissa McCarthy's hilarious." And obviously, that was already in pre-production.
Yeah,
for him to like,
who would they in this rumor?
Yeah,
who would they cast as the Terry McGinnis to his old man?
I don't
Bruce
know
Wayne?
if they're gonna do a Terry McGinnis, but
just an old man Bruce Wayne,
old man Bruce Wayne kind of thing with like a Batman.
Yeah.
On the ledge. That was always the intention, that Batman was going to die in Justice League 1, and then in Justice League 2 they would have to like reconstitute the league without Batman.
Wow.
That was always the plan for Zack Snyder's.
Who's Scott?
Scott Snyder is a comic book writer.
Oh, gotcha.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you say that out loud, it's kind of obvious why Warner Brothers nixed that.
Yeah. That would have been a very bold.
Yeah. Let's get back to Beetlejuice.
It might not have worked out for the DC EU.
Hey, it didn't work out anyway.
So.
But so the sequel is permanently shelved.
It could be so cool, but in this day and
dangerous.
age, you could never recapture what's really great about Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
No studio's gonna take those chances.
No, not gonna happen.
Just leave it.
How much do you think it cost, Sketch?
Not a lot.
Remember, only $1 million was given over for effects.
My hint.
It is a small budget.
Okay. 13 million.
Well, that's a great guess.
Thank you.
$15 million.
Holy shit.
I'm going to give it to you.
I was super close.
I mean, when we're talking about millions and you're $2 million off, I'm going to give it to you.
I went 13 because it's unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it to you.
But it was my lucky number
this
time.
When you think about it, they made like the whole movie had a $14 million budget, and they were like, "Oh, we'll give you an extra $1 million to do the effects."
Yeah.
How much do you think it grossed?
More than that. Well, more than that.
Its opening weekend numbers were $8 million.
Okay.
When it was all said and done, it made $74.2 million.
Whoa!
I mean, now that's not Ninja Turtles money, but this is an unknown original story, unbankable character, small budget movie with no lineage, with no marketing. That's impressive.
Okay, now I don't know actors.
Yes.
Going into this movie, who was like big? Who was your big star power going in?
Catherine O'Hara.
Okay.
Was huge. Michael Keaton's star is rising.
Okay.
Winona Ryder has just done Lucas, which is what people know her from. Tim Burton originally wanted Sammy Davis Jr.
I read that when I was looking into
and the original story was that Beetlejuice was kind of like a... Did you ever see the movie Devil's Advocate?
No.
Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves?
Hooah!
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but no, I didn't say that.
Just like that. So in that movie,
Didn't they do that one on How Does This Get Made?
They did.
That's probably why I've heard of the movie.
Fantastic.
That's a great episode.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, I almost wonder if that's where the idea for Devil's Advocate came from, because the original pitch for Beetlejuice was much darker, much more serious.
Okay.
And they wanted Sammy Davis Jr. to basically play like a suave, like devil-esque character, and his true form was supposed to be like a winged beast.
Okay.
But they always refer to him in the script as being Middle Eastern.
Oh.
Like that was like his look.
That was his theme.
That was his, yes, if you will. To borrow from another episode. And David Geffen pushed for Michael Keaton, and Tim Burton didn't know who Michael Keaton was. And so, I mean, Beetlejuice is almost directly responsible for the 1989 Batman.
Yeah.
It establishes Michael Keaton as...
Well, yeah, I don't know the history, but then after watching Beetlejuice again as an adult, like with fresh eyes, and then seeing Keaton and Burton working together and everything, I'm like, oh, this is obviously what led to that relationship and then working together again.
Yes.
One of the many joys of this movie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Michael Keaton was known for his comedy, for stand-up, but just a versatile actor, just a great actor. And Winona Ryder's fantastic in this. Catherine O'Hara is fantastic in this. I blanking on his name. I wrote it down and now I can't find it in my notebook. I know my notebook's like tiny, but still, the guy who plays Otho.
Oh, I love Otho.
He's a great character actor. It's such a fun movie.
I read online that
it must be true.
At his real life, the actor's funeral.
Oh,
yeah, he passed in 1999. From what I read,
wow,
they played Deo.
That's fantastic.
Like per his request.
That's like, wonderful.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I really feel like this movie is one of those experiences in all of these actors' lives that
bond memories.
Yeah, like
that was a good time kind of a thing.
We're going to talk about a movie. Maybe it'll come out before this. Maybe after this.
It'll come out
after. We're in which
because this is Halloween
Spooky. In which nobody had a good time making that movie.
Yeah,
and I mean, it looks like everybody had a good time making this movie. And I will say, the animated movie, the deets are animated in such a way.
The animated show, you mean?
The animated show,
okay.
That you're like, oh, they must like awful. These are awful people and awful characters, and they must like, oh, the characters that they must have been based on. And then you watch the movie and you're like, well, the dad's actually not terrible. The mother's a train wreck.
The mother is
Delia Dietz is a train wreck.
Is an artist.
Sure.
First and foremost.
Sure,
she's an artist.
I think you're trying to be polite in saying that she is difficult and full of herself.
Yeah, she's like a caricature of an artist. You know what I mean? She's that character.
She is
design.
She's what people lead you to believe Yoko Ono is like.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Yoko Ono, philanthropist, artist, activist.
She is everything.
Never portrayed that way.
She is exactly, and I'm talking about Delia now.
Yeah.
She's exactly portrayed as you would think of a 90s New York artist.
Sure.
Like.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
She just fits that. Just like, remember how in Turtles we were talking about, like, maybe that New York never existed.
Right,
but, like,
yes,
it was always in our brain.
Yes.
Like, that's it. That's it.
Like
maybe that artist never did exist, but that character type.
She would have fit right in like an art gallery on Friends.
Yeah. You know who she reminds me of? Doug Funny's sister, Judy Funny.
Yeah, Judy Funny.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Strong agree.
I deposit a world in which Judy Funny grows up and becomes Dietz. Delia Dietz.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that happened.
Both ABC animated shows.
Yeah. It could happen.
Doug and Beetlejuice.
Guys, get on that.
Oh, shit. How many times have I said that?
You have now said it 2 3/4 times. Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Keaton. Guys, wouldn't that blow your fucking minds?
Oh my God. That would blow my mind if when you say his name, Michael Keaton appears.
3 times you say Michael Keaton.
I'm trying to have dinner with my family. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I'm in pre-production of Sugar Glider.
Movie, Mr. Keaton.
Okay.
Should we do the internet scores?
You got to do the all-important internet scores.
IMDb gives the movie that shall not be named.
Yeah.
7.5.
Mr. Juice.
Mr. Juice. Mr. Geis.
Mr. Geis.
Beetlejuice. Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking through your score. What did it give them?
A 7.5.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, 84%.
Okay.
90% of Google reviewers love this movie.
Yep.
And
oh boy, here we go.
Drum roll.
Wait a minute. Really?
Shades of Geeking Out with Shades of Sketch gives Beetlejuice a 100% perfect score.
I call bullshit.
Perfect score.
Because there is not
score.
a single fire pole in this movie. Okay,
100% Sketch.
I totally see this as 100 for you. I totally do. I totally buy it. I gave this an 88.
Oh, and Elise and I were talking about this. She's like, Sketch is going to give this like an 85.
Yep.
88.
Yeah.
I 100% understand why this is not as high a score for you.
Listen, to me, anything over an 85, really good. Top 90s, whoa. Like, I'll own that.
Yeah.
95 and above, that's tattooed in my heart, basically, right? So this, I recognize Beetlejuice as just like, it's like so solidly made.
And that's what it comes down to for me.
It can't be reconstructed. It can't be
and
reproduced.
That you've perfectly encapsulated why I've given it 100%.
Yeah.
It holds up so well. It's so well crafted.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite movie? I don't even know if it's in my top 10.
Yeah.
Of favorite movies. Probably not.
No.
Actually. But God, what an experience.
Oh, yeah.
What a good time. What a cinematic gem. And it, remember, a rant is anything that takes you out of the world. And
nothing took you out.
At no time was I removed from the world that Tim Burton created.
Yeah.
And those actors populated. And I was, from start to finish, I was in it. And I was, near the end of the movie, I was looking for things to be like, I'll take point there.
Yeah, but why do that?
And I was like, I'm missing the point. Like, at no time was I removed from the world.
Yeah.
Now, are there things that I could say, I don't know if this holds up so well in 21st century?
Sure. I can't rant against that,
I can't rant against that.
Maybe in a future episode I'll rant against something like that. Not in this.
Yeah, not in this one.
So you literally have no rants?
I have. There are things that I will piggyback off of probably, and tonally, there are things that don't work anymore. But in terms of, and maybe it was colored a little by doing the research for it and like seeing that he set out to create a world that looked like if you touched it, the set would fall over. That was his intent. Okay. Mission accomplished, Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Like if I hadn't done the research and learned that, maybe I would say, some of the stop motion, like, well, now they're on like this sand planet thing that's supposed to be Saturn. Like basically they're depositing that, like when she opens the door and goes to the sand planet where the snake is, that's Titan, moon of Saturn.
Apparently.
Sure.
Okay.
But like it's the neither. They're trapped in the neither world.
Yep.
Like, okay, that's possible.
I'm not arguing you.
So like I don't know what, like, did that take, okay, sure. That's the mechanics of this world that they've made.
Yeah.
So I can't fault it for that.
I don't
blame
blame
you.
you.
Zero.
Okay.
I have zero rants.
Let's start with rants and get them out of the way because mine are minor.
Great.
Minor.
Great.
And then we can just rave for days.
Rave for days.
On this Hallows Eve.
Spooky.
Isn't it funny that last year
we did Ghostbusters?
We were on the side of busting ghosts.
Yes.
this year we're on the side of pro ghost.
Yes.
We're pro ghost this year.
Pro ghost.
Where will we be next year?
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. Something spooky though.
Ooh.
Okay. I only have 2 rants. They're both minor.
2 rants, you gave it an 88?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because listen, for as much as I think a movie made in the 80s benefits you, it detracts from me. Like I can't get over it for some reason.
Because it's from
yeah,
1980s.
like something about it.
That is
there's
not
like
your
an
decade.
80s feel.
It's not your decade.
And you know there's an 80s feel because
Yeah,
you like the
I
80s
love it.
feel. I don't like the 80s
Yeah.
feel, so I can't like
Basically it's like
it's like when I have
down
coconut. I don't like coconut. That I like almost any flavor, but not
coconut.
And like it'll linger. It'll linger in my mouth.
That's fair.
This movie lingered in my mouth a little bit. The 80s-ness of it. Okay. So both of my rants is just wanting more of something.
Okay.
Not thinking I didn't get enough of something. So let's start with Maitland. The Maitlands.
Okay.
Right, the 2 Maitlands.
Delia and
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I forget what their names were in the movie though, other than the
Brenda and Alex.
Well, it's Alec Baldwin. Is that his
Alan.
actual name? Alan?
Brenda and Alan.
Okay. The Maitlands. The ghosts.
Yes, the Maitlands.
Our 2 ghosts.
The ghosts, yeah.
I loved them. Like,
what a quaint little
as we've
family
established,
unit.
Don't think I saw the beginning of this movie ever.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it recently.
What a life.
With my wife, and I'm like, these 2, like, have we seen like a truer, more just down to earth and honest portrayal of like a loveful marriage? Like,
I submit not.
These 2 are like this perfectly married couple. It's not all about romance and sex and lust. It's just
sometimes it's about doing the dishes and just building models in the attic.
Like they totally portrayed like the best friend aspect.
Yeah.
Of like
being
married,
absolutely.
right?
Yep.
And so don't get me wrong. I loved them.
You don't often see that in a Hollywood story.
You don't. Because we romanticize the passionate side of love. But
ripping off the clothes.
Yeah.
And the oiled
we don't
low
normally
light.
see the like the slow burn.
Yeah.
Slow burn of love. This
burn.
movie's all about the slow burn. And so I loved them. The scene I needed that I didn't get was
the oiled up sex in the low light.
I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
You are a sucker
the
for
old
that.
Beetlejuice, they call it.
Careful.
Wait, is that 2 for me?
It's 2 for you.
Okay. Careful.
If we say it together, it cancels it out,
Cancels
right?
each other out.
Okay.
Here's the scene I needed. So they died, right? They figure out their ghosts.
Yes.
Okay. I'm on board.
The manual for the recently departed?
The handbook for the recently departed.
Handbook.
Yeah. So they're leafing through that. They're reading it. They are like this quaint couple that lives in small town Connecticut, apparently.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we need to haunt these people. Okay. They go to some of the most gruesome shit like immediately. We're talking like decapitation and like hanging in closets, ripping faces off.
Yeah.
I needed a little scene in the middle where they're trying some like
they needed to do the sheets first.
Yes. Just try like some like just be cute about it. Be cute. Move a spoon. Turn off the light. Something that's like the deets is like totally just pass it off.
Start with the shrimp coming to life.
Exactly.
And grabbing you.
Something
shrimp
smaller.
Fingers. Those shrimp fingers were spooky.
I remembered very little of this movie before I went back in. I think we acknowledged because I never saw the first 20 minutes.
Right.
Remembered the shrimp fingers.
Yeah.
Here are the things I remembered. Ready? It'll tell you what the what the powerful imagery was. The shrimp fingers. The statues coming to life.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. That's still really creepy.
Yep.
I
remember being terrified of that like the first time I saw it.
Oh yeah. The way they move and everything. We're gonna get there. The Netherworld like waiting room.
Yep,
obviously. Because how do you not? And the face deformities.
Yes.
When they do the
Yep.
big like stretch and pull and everything.
Oddly, they also look like Spy versus Spy when
They
the
do,
lyric
yeah,
log in.
yeah.
It's like, is this a Spy versus Spy thing?
I mean, talk about lasting imagery.
Yeah.
You know, Tim Burton, man.
Oh,
Excuse me.
get you every time.
So yeah, I mean, when I was thinking about the movie and I was thinking about, okay, what did I need if I were going to like bump my score up? Because that 88 is just like from a place of like, how do I feel after this movie?
Sure.
And I'm like, I feel 88% like fulfilled and happy.
You know your score is in the 80s.
Yeah. I knew it was like, I knew it was like high 80s
But like,
because.
Are you okay with that?
Because the movie's in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, an 80s movie has to be in the 80s. I should make that a rule, but I'll have to break that rule for Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and Indiana Jones. Okay, there's plenty that are going to have to play. Anyway, here's the other thing I needed. And this was a legit rant because this did take me out of the movie.
Okay.
I needed more Keaton. I needed more Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because part of this was probably because I never saw the beginning of the movie.
Right.
But at one point while we were watching it, I looked at my watch and I was like,
where is he?
We've been in this movie for a while now. Where's
Right.
Beetlejuice? There's no Beetlejuice.
Oh no!
Oh no, that's 2.
That's 3.
Hey, toots. Michael Keaton?
Oh no!
What a gross man.
Oh.
Also, by the way. But he was so flippin' awesome. And when he finally showed up on screen, I paused it and I looked at the timestamp. It was 25 minutes in.
Wow.
And I'm like,
he's the title character.
Yeah, title character, the most memorable part of the movie.
Right.
And I've gone 25 minutes without seeing him. And then I looked up stats and he was only in the movie. The movie is 92 minutes long. He's in it for 17 and a half minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
that's an electrifying performance.
That's a great way to put it. It's an electrifying performance. And that is not to detract from all the other actors.
Right.
Because everyone else was awesome. And I was totally into their stories.
That's amazing.
But it's it's Mr. Juice. And I wanted
Beetlejuice.
I wanted more.
17 minutes?
Yeah.
That's it?
17 and a half. 17 minutes, 30 seconds.
Wow.
But he commands.
He really does.
He commands the screen during that time.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, I did immediately set upon the fact that he's barely in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. That's a rave for me.
Yeah.
It was a rave for me how little he was in. Well, when we get to raves, I'll talk about it.
Well, I think we're basically there. So why don't you transition us into raves?
Okay.
Because those are my only 2 rants I had. Listen, I really, really like this movie.
I would agree with both of your rants.
Thank you.
It didn't take me out of the movie experience, though.
That's fine. Doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But thank you for respecting them.
Yeah, absolutely.
This podcast is all about respect. Fuck you, internet. Tweet me and I'll tell you why you're wrong, internet.
Don't refrigerate your tomatoes.
Oh my God. You know what I just realized?
What?
It's Halloween.
It is.
You're the trick. I'm the treat.
Oh.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So apropos.
Trick or treat. Long-time listeners.
With shades and sketch.
I love it. All right, raves.
Raves. Beetlejuice. Oh, damn it.
That's like 8 for
That's
you.
like 8 for me. He is
He
not.
does it in multiples of 3.
He is not the hero.
No.
And more importantly, he's never encouraged or rewarded for his terrible behavior.
No.
He's Pandora's box, and you're not to open him. And if you do, you put him back in the box immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so. If this movie were made today,
yeah,
it would be goes to Hawaii and he's surfing, and it's just like the worst elements of like National Lampoon movies with just like like the most disgusting guy imaginable, just preying upon people.
There's only 2 ways to make this movie today, and both of them would do a disservice. You would either have to go one way or the other. You either turn this into like one of those straight to video for kids movies, you know, where it's like just gross.
Return of Jafar.
Yeah. It's like, you know, the Beetlejuice stuff is like gross, but it's not creepy.
Right.
And it's like zany antics.
Yeah.
Or you go like deep horror.
Yes.
You know, and you just tell like a really deep, dark.
Like Saw with this character.
But if you went either of those, you can never hit that middle sweet spot that this movie did in the 80s.
Ever again.
Yeah. I'll give it to the 80s on that one.
It's so interesting that we think of the 80s as such a less refined, less progressive, less sophisticated time.
Mm-hmm.
This movie passes the Bechdel test.
Yes,
We
it
have
does.
more than 2 female characters,
Mhm.
and they have real conversations, not about a man.
Mhm. You have 4 big, important
yes.
female characters in this movie.
I mean, it's
That's offset
crazy.
by 4 important male characters.
Yes, I mean I don't understand how this movie got made when it was made.
Yeah.
And how well it's done.
Yeah.
And I just we would redeem this character today. We would give him a Kylo Ren backstory of fallen from the light and redeemed, or Billy from Stranger Things, or insert any number of
all about redemption.
They're not really that bad. Oh no, he's a piece of garbage.
He's just misunderstood.
He's an absolute
he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's just an absolute piece of shit. And that's his reward. Is to forever be an absolute piece of shit.
It is so refreshing. You're totally right. It's so refreshing to have a horrible person/character
and remain horrible.
Yes,
we don't have to redeem them.
Just their nature.
Yep.
It's not a product of fill in the blank.
Yep. Oh, look, you don't want his help.
Yeah.
He's awful.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's actually awful. You're right. I don't want his help. Yeah, I told you that at the beginning of the movie.
It's so interesting too, because like you're hitting on things I didn't pick up on as I was watching it. And like you're absolutely right. When Juno says that, and like warns the Maitlands, no, you don't want to go the Beetlejuice route. My stupid 2019 brain was like, oh, we're gonna find out something. We're gonna like find out that like he used to work for her, but she was really abusive and he just wanted to do it his way, or something like fucking stupid like that. Because I'm like so conditioned at this point.
We are so nobody's really bad.
And you know what?
No,
he was irredeemable.
He was.
And you know what? The movie didn't try to redeem him
at all. I mean, just fast forwarding quite a bit, like when he like, oh, I'll unlock all my powers when we get married. It's not my rules. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Like that whole. She is a child.
Yeah, she's 15.
He is fully like, we're gonna get married. We're gonna consummate this marriage. There are like snakes and dead things and like a woman's finger with a ring on it that he pulls out of his pocket to
presumably his last wife.
This is traumatizing.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Like full steam ahead. And it is just a roller coaster at that point of the things that are happening at the speed they're breakneck pace.
Do you remember as a child when you saw this, or as a young adult when you saw this? Do you remember the strip club?
Yes, I do.
The strip club.
I do remember the strip club. Okay. Yes,
I knew that would stick out so I wanted to make sure it was there.
And that's why I'm like, oh, I've only ever seen this on Comedy Central at night, because at night on Comedy Central, they would not censor things.
Comedy Central After Dark.
Essentially, yeah. They used to show PG-13 movies after
laugh.
Like.
That's right.
That's a good one. Yeah. From like 11:30 to 5 in the morning, they would show movies like in their actual theatric form. Do you remember that?
Comedy Central Lowbrow.
That's
the one.
That is the one.
That's the one.
It is.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. So
I usually slept.
I was like a movie hound.
I mean, long-time listeners know this. You have not slept for 15 years.
Yeah. It's just been
a real medical condition. When we're not recording, you're still talking.
I'm still talking and taking in media.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people to prove wrong.
So I thought that was like, wow, how refreshing this is.
Absolutely.
That and a bold choice not to redeem the title character of your movie. And he's not the main character.
No,
he's
not
supporting,
the main character.
Like you said, 17 and a half minutes on screen, but damn, what an amazing 17 and a half minutes.
It would be, let's think of something comparable these days. It would be like seeing Stranger Things season 1, right? And naming the entire series the Demigorgon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's talked about.
It is.
Sure. Screen time, minimal. Impact, pretty big.
Pretty big, yeah. Just as a funny aside, for marketing purposes, if you look in the movie, his name is spelled Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers made them phonetically spell out, I guess it's not phonetically, but spell out juice the way most people are accustomed to seeing it for the box art. But they also didn't want to call it that, so they tried changing the titles to something. It was something with ghost in the name.
I read a title.
And then Tim Burton suggested, well, why don't you just call it Scared Sheetless?
That's the one.
And Warner Brothers were 100 on board.
Yes.
100% on board with naming that. And he was like, no, that was
a fucking joke.
That was a joke.
Yes.
Please don't name it that. Wow, Warner Brothers making
Scared Sheetless.
batshit crazy decisions since 1988.
Yeah, Warner Brothers, we've been big fans of you for a long time, but you make it hard.
You make it hard.
You make it hard.
You make it hard. So yeah, that was my first rave, and it was fantastic.
I will piggyback your rave about Beetlejuice. I absolutely agree with you with everything that you have said. It couldn't. I can't think of anyone else who could have done what they did like Keaton did. I mean, his performance as Beetlejuice is legendary. Dare I say legendary at this point.
Yep. I can't believe that you put these two roles side by side, and yes, I mean he is a phenomenal Batman.
Yeah.
But this is the character that, like, long after Ben Kingsley is dead, they're going to remember him for playing Gandhi. We're going to remember Michael Keaton for Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hands down.
Yeah.
There have been so many Batman at this point. There's only one
Beetlejuice.
And it's Michael Keaton.
Yeah. That's another reason why I would not want to remake or anything like that. Because
who
no
would
one
you
could
put into this
match
part?
That. But my true rave is literally everyone else.
Yeah.
Like literally every other actor. Like you said, it seemed like they had fun. I hope they did. I truly do hope they did have fun doing it. But at least it came across to me as the viewer that this was an enjoyable experience. And like, I really felt like everyone gave at the minimum their 100%.
Yeah.
And then someone like Keaton went maybe a little above 100%.
Right.
But like everyone brought their A game to this. Like Catherine O'Hara was
oh my goodness,
awesome.
She signed on to the movie without reading the script when she heard Tim Burton was directing.
That scene where, I guess it's when they're moving in. It must be when they're moving in or whatever. Someone backtalks her or the husband, and she like just goes like mental on him.
Yeah.
I was like,
wow.
That's Mrs. McAllister?
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome.
Right?
Like, she is.
Well, she's also done all of the Christopher Guest movies, too.
No, I know, but I mean,
that's probably what she's most recognizable for.
She is so on the edge. Like, she's like so on the edge of Unhinged. Like, she's holding on by like a screw, you know? Like, she's just ready to snap.
And I keep saying Catherine O'Hara, which is not correct. It's Catherine O'Hare.
Catherine O'Hare.
Catherine O'Hara is a different person.
Different person altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Gone with the Wind.
Guys, you don't need to write it on that one.
Yeah.
We got that. We got it on
apologies, guys.
But
Catherine O'Hare.
Let's see. Who else? Winona
Ryder
was awesome. Like,
wow.
she's playing this, like, I don't want to say aloof, because she's not aloof, but she's
otherworldly.
Otherworldly. That's
she really
it.
is.
That's it.
Well, she's writing all the suicide notes in her room.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, do you know anything of Winona Ryder's career?
She was in Stranger Things. And she was Lydia in Beetlejuice.
Yes. And in between,
all I know.
She went absolutely batshit crazy.
Did she really?
Yeah. At one, I don't know if she went to jail.
Oh.
It is possible. Like, Lydia seems to have like affected her in a bizarre way. And she talks about this, like, Lydia Dietz is a part of her.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of her what do you call it? Not formal is not the word I'm looking for?
I don't know what word you're looking for.
Like when you have an experience early on and it like just
Formative?
Thank you.
Formative experiences.
Thank you, Sketch. It was one of her formative
experiences
in life.
Yeah.
And it influenced her in such a way that a lot of these things have stuck with her through her whole career.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, she like shoplifted, and she was like,
"Oh, that rings a bell."
Yeah, and she's like, "It was research for a role that I was gonna play," and like it was a huge deal at the time. And it's like it was only a huge deal because she was Winona Ryder.
Right. Think of all the shoplifting that goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is ringing a bell.
It's like when you look at Winona Ryder, you can't help but see Lydia Dietz.
No, yeah, absolutely not.
It's not like she has done a lot to separate herself from that.
And
like
the way
her personal
she played Lydia,
fashion and look is very like, oh yeah, you could like Lydia at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
when she like rides away in her like schoolgirl outfit was like, oh, like Winona Ryder just dresses like this sometimes because she's Winona Ryder. So yeah, what a performance though.
She plays it as Lydia Dietz again, right on the edge.
Yes.
Right on the edge of, is this that stereotypical trope of like a moody teenager?
Right.
Like, oh, I'm going to write in my diary.
Yeah.
Killing myself and all that. Or is she like legit serious?
Yeah.
And she's just over that line where, so like she's so far into that caricature that it's just skirting that line. And that's the perfect place to be.
Oh yeah.
In this
strong
movie.
Agree.
Especially when you got your Keatons just chewing up the fake turf with his stuff. And I already talked about the Maitlands, like portraying love and experiencing it. But then, I mean, Juno was great, and Otho.
Hey, Coach, I don't think we survived that accident.
Dumb jocks. Ha, jocks. We got one on you. Geeks won. Jocks. Well, let's not keep score. What are you looking up?
I'm looking up Juno.
Okay.
Because she was fantastic.
Oh, she was awesome. Did she? I was trying to figure out how she died because everyone else was very obvious. Was her neck slit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All of the people who worked at the bureau were suicide victims.
That was a great.
People who commit suicide wind up working at the bureau.
And that was a great little detail because Otho says that. Yes. Oh, don't you know that they say that committing suicide means you work in civil service in the afterlife?
Correct.
And they all were. The receptionist showed her wrists. And, it's dark, but that's perfect for Beetlejuice.
You know what? I was right, actually. Her name is Catherine O'Hara.
So, guys, don't call in. We got it under control. Guys. We just corrected the correction.
Yep.
Did you think we were going to do that on Halloween?
Spooky. Juno was played by Sylvia Sidney, starlet of the screen, and this was her last. This is the last movie that she was nominated for. Her last movie was she was the grandma in Mars Attacks.
Was she really?
Yeah.
We're gonna do Mars Attacks at some point.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. That was Tim Burton too, wasn't it?
I think that was Tim Burton?
I think that was a Tim Burton like sci-fi, like Tim Burton's take on a sci-fi. I could be wrong.
You're right. Oh, Tim Burton. Wow.
Man, I'm nailing it.
But yeah, she was nominated for. She was nominated 6 times and she won 5.
That's awesome.
Yep. She won the Academy. She won the Best Supporting Actor. Or actress, rather, for Beetlejuice in 1988. That was the last time she won an award.
Wow. One last thing I'll say about the performances before we move on.
But she was fantastic.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In this movie, our main characters, who we spend the most time with, are ghosts.
Yes, the Maitlands.
Legit ghosts.
Yes.
They are 100% more relatable and grounded than the real life human people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're the audience,
right,
on the side of the ghosts in a haunting.
Yeah. Yep.
Sign me up.
Oh yeah, it is so new and different.
Yeah.
My actual rave for this is it's a perfect example of world building, storytelling, and filmmaking technique being used to execute a singular vision.
Mhm.
And that vision is people are awful.
Yeah.
The ghosts are the real victim here.
Mhm.
And we're rooting for them
Mhm.
at all times.
Yeah.
And it's just such an, again, show me something new and I'm all in.
All in.
And there's nothing like this movie out there.
No.
And there have been attempts to kind of tell a story in which you should empathize with the villain, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we're conditioned from a young age to be afraid of the dark and afraid of ghosts. And this turns it on its head. The real horrors are the Dietz and Otho. They're just terrible people. I mean, Otho is just, he's the real villain of
he's the closest thing to a true villain. Because I couldn't even call Beetlejuice a villain. He's just like an agent of chaos.
He's just a poltergeist.
Yeah.
He's just doing what he does.
Otho is...
Oh, honey, I know as much about interior design as the supernatural.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Well, I mean, he's completely right. He knows zero about
either. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like he's just a leech. And he's gonna make a buck wherever he can.
However he can.
Have the right connections. He's gonna have the right relationships.
Robert Goulet is like the executive. That was fantastic. Man, whenever Robert Goulet shows up in a movie, you know it's going to be a good time.
You're going to give it a good rave, a Goulet rave. A Goulet.
They died, right?
I mean,
they had to.
They had to have.
Like Max, whatever is like the character name, like he and his wife died, right?
I mean, they
straight up murdered.
They got thrown through the ceiling. I mean, this is a movie that deposits that death is real and lasting, and the Maitlands died in a pretty mundane car accident. There's no way those two survived the force that it took to break through the ceiling.
Yeah,
they're dead.
They're dead.
Yeah, they're dead.
Okay.
How the Dietzes explained it away, I don't know.
Yeah, that was gonna say that's never referenced, like the two dead bodies.
No, I think they just
on
hide
the second floor.
That's what Connecticut's good for.
Just hiding dead bodies. You know, now that you bring up the car accident, I guess it like the totally implausible thing was that the dog was balancing out the weight of the car.
I mean,
that took me out early.
Okay, well, let's just
let it slide.
Take off like a 0.3.
Yeah.
99.7.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's still pretty good.
Pretty good for Mr. Juice.
I'm gonna stick with it.
Stick with your 100 because you're rounding up.
But that was
whimsy.
That was whimsy.
That was like the lightest whimsy.
That was the whimsical world of Tim Burton.
Yeah. Was that your rave or my rave, or are we just raving?
We're just all over the place here, raving for days.
All right, let's talk about the afterlife because. Not in the movie. I want to actually have a conversation about your souls. Okay, does everyone get comfy? I want to talk about salvation.
Who used to be the guy on Sci-Fi? We would like
John
crossing
Edwards.
over with John Edwards, right?
Yep.
There we go.
I don't know actors, but I know media.
I'm sensing a B name.
The South Park episode with him is
oh my god,
good.
It's so good,
so good. Anyway, the afterlife. You know what? We don't say it a lot, so I'm going to say it now. Give me something new and I'm all in. The way they depict the afterlife in this movie is so cool because it's completely devoid of any religious beliefs, any religious connotations. It's just it's the same shit. It's the same shit that we're dealing with here. It's just bureaucracy and just everything's slowed down. It's not good. It's not punishment. It's just the same old shit.
It makes you hope that there's nothing.
It really does.
Yeah.
Death is lasting. The people in the afterlife are still affected by their death.
Yes.
like it was legit creepy. The guy,
the witch doctor.
okay,
the guy
he was
with the shrunken
creepy.
head.
Yeah, that was creepy. But also the smoker. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Holy
the
shit.
smoker.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's gonna haunt me when I close my eyes and go to bed tonight.
Because that was practical effects, like so creepy.
Puppetry,
and
again,
it was
just a puppet
again, but with a real human head.
With a real human head. But so good.
But again, it's that line. Like Tim Burton's so good at like just coming right up to
the line
because it was almost comical, but it wasn't there. It was to the nth degree creep before turning into comedy.
Almost comical.
Yeah.
Not
comical.
Not at all. Like, whoa.
But it was like
and he says something too, like I'm trying to like I'm so close to quitting or something like that.
Or I'm trying to cut back or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to cut back.
Who else was dead in there? I mean, everyone was dead.
The model that was like she was the magician's assistant.
Oh yeah, she was sawed in half. She was actually sawed in half.
Actually sawed in half.
The guy who does the paperwork and he's like flat.
Oh
because he's run over and he's like,
yep,
I'm feeling a little flat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have equally worked if he said, I'm feeling pretty tired?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He's covered in tire tracks.
Yeah. And they had a hole in the wall appropriately sized for him. That
creeped me out as a kid.
That creeped me out.
It even creeped me out a little. I don't know, claustrophobia, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's just like strung up.
Yep,
the guy passing out papers was like on a noose. Like it's really disturbing shit.
It is.
And he's so good about being right there at that line where it's like, am I scared or am I entertained?
Dark.
I think I'm both.
Yep. I'm entertained and a little scared.
Yeah.
Just everybody worked in public service.
Yeah.
Were people that had killed themselves.
Yep.
And it was so prominent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, again, that's right up to the line.
Yes.
Of like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
This is,
and it's because it's never how to put this. It's never a farce.
Right.
It's not parodied. It's treated as a
just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Like it's just
don't do it.
Everybody's dead. And it wasn't that little detail about civil service and suicide. It wasn't, it's robbing everybody.
Right.
Call me MJ. It wasn't thrown in your face. It was just
a little
nicely
remark.
done. Nicely done.
And you knew it wasn't just him riffing because he had taken the handbook at that point. Mm-hmm. So he knew.
Yeah.
That was it was was Chekhov's gunman, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, it was. Can I get to my next rave?
Sure, please.
The attention to these little details.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a blanket statement, and there's so many areas. So this whole thing with civil service and suicide, great attention to detail, a theme that runs through this little thread that could tie everything together. But I mean, let's talk about the practicals, the miniature sets, the prosthetics that they're using.
Oh my goodness.
The stop motion.
It never falls down. My
literal first note for watching this movie, guys, we take notes.
We do,
My first note was, I honestly don't know when this changed to a miniature.
The beginning of the movie goes back and forth. When they're showing you the town, it switches back and forth between the real town and a miniature. And at times, you're not sure if you're looking. There's just one moment at the very end where there's a little miniature person next to the car, and then it's slightly off scale, and you're like, oh, that's the miniature.
Yeah. By the time I realized it was a miniature,
I had been looking at it for a while.
I was like, oh, this has been a miniature for a while.
Yeah.
Like what? Like that's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. And I was also reeling from, hey, I've been to this town. I know this town. How was none of this familiar to me? The stop motion claymation stuff, like I said a little bit earlier, that like there's a creep factor to claymation.
There is.
Because it's just like Tim Burton does where he goes up to this line. And of course, we know he uses stop animation.
There's a lot of stop motion in Batman and Batman Returns.
There's just like this otherworldliness about it. It's just over the line of what's real, what's creepy. and what's like fake. Oh, that's obviously fake. Okay, yeah, we know all this stop motion stuff is fake, but it's just real enough to keep you suspending your disbelief.
Strong agree.
Yeah, they're so smart. And obviously these are multiple teams, the prosthetic team and the miniature team, the stop motion team. And like everyone is bringing their A games.
$1 million for effects.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
You said that like Dr. Evil. $1 million.
Sure. But I mean,
freaking sharks with their freaking laser beams.
I mean, think about that.
I'm thinking about
all of those miniatures, all of that puppetry, all of the stop motion, all of the prosthetics for their face effects when they have to act off of each other with.
Well, and all the prosthetics.
All of the prosthetics in the Neither world.
Yeah,
it is
mind-boggling.
I mean, I can't get over it.
Yeah,
I can't get over it that all of that cost $1 million.
Even though I had all these clear memories of these very haunting imagery, when I restarted the movie as an adult, I was like, well, I'm honestly remembering it as a child. There can't be that many special effects. There can't be that many of these set pieces in it because it was a while ago, and it was just it was just one single movie, Beetlejuice, and it's chock full.
It is. I mean, there's an effect in almost every scene.
Yeah. And the sculptures. We talked about the sculptures just a tiny little bit earlier, but like, okay, let's get it out of the way. Delia Dietz, horrible artist.
Horrible.
She is horrible, and I like that her agent, whoever, like calls her out on it.
Yeah.
Like, go back to scaring people with your art.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she sucks.
God awful.
The fact, though, that her statues come to life to like torment her, there's just something about that.
It's priceless.
It's very Frankenstein's monster to me.
It is.
It's very.
And she gets trapped behind.
And that wasn't even supernatural.
It wasn't. She gets trapped behind it earlier in the film.
Yeah.
And then it comes to life and traps her
does
again.
Almost the same thing to her.
Yeah.
Just alive.
Right.
In the animated show, were they like still alive? Like, were they like almost pets?
Show, a lot of so they mash up the animated show. They mash up Titan's Moon and the Neither World into like they call it the ghost dimension.
Okay.
And they mashed it up. There's like a lot of creatures that just look like the sculptures.
Yeah. Yeah. The art style,
yes.
Of the aesthetic of the Neither World is very similar to Delia's art
style.
Which almost makes you feel like she has some sort of connection.
Sure.
Some sort of third eye that's like seeing into that. But Lydia's the
maybe
one
she's
that is.
Crossed over into it at some point.
Maybe Judy Funny died.
Maybe. Came back as Delia Dietz.
Yeah. I like it. Let's deposit that.
Sure.
I'm just depositing all over the place.
Near-death experience.
Yeah. The last thing I'll rave about, because I mean, we could rave for days.
We could go on and on and on.
Yes. I mean, do you have any other specific raves? Because
I mean,
I have one last one.
I would just say that I love the look and feel of this movie, the design aesthetic, the soundtrack, and the score.
Mm-hmm.
It all works seamlessly together. I mean, we kind of, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like pointed to as the movie that like perfectly meshed visuals with a soundtrack.
Oh.
And I say we, but that's kind of like the thing in everybody's mind right now. It's kind of a movie's got to have like kick-ass like soundtrack now.
Yeah.
Like a pop music score to go with it. It's like it's got it in spades.
Yeah.
Originally they wanted to use Motown.
Okay.
But Burton wanted Harry Belafonte specifically.
Again,
great choice.
There's like a line.
Yeah.
And including those song choices in this movie, like it brings it right to that line of like, is this absurd? Is it
Right.
a little unsettling because of like how out of place it's
just very out of place.
It's just enough to like, like when you get hit in the head and like you're just off balance for like a second. That's where Burton like wants you in the movie.
What? Bleeding.
Remember that?
I remember that.
That was a real life story, guys.
Which one of us was bleeding is the question.
Yeah. Which one of us was bleeding? Write in if you think you know the answer.
The wound began to smell like almonds.
It did. We were all smelling almonds that weekend. But that's what's so good about Beetlejuice, and really, I am thinking about other Burton works too.
Yeah,
it's like it's constantly on that edge of like,
here's the line, and I'm just gonna walk on it. And make you uncomfortable.
And I know if I cross this way, you're gonna be comfortable, and I know if I cross that way,
I'm gonna lose my job.
Yeah, and I'm gonna like lose your suspension of disbelief.
Right.
I'm just gonna walk right down this line of just keeping you uncomfortable, like the whole fucking movie.
Yep.
But still,
that's a great description for this movie.
Still entertained.
Yeah,
and still have moments of like I said, seeing like love in people,
yep.
and laughing and
like what a like. Here's a commentary of this movie. They have like the perfect life, this quaint little life, but they can't have kids.
Yeah,
and they're somehow less than because of it, and they have to die, go through this horrific experience to like have their perfect life.
Yeah.
With like Lydia, who identifies more with the Maitlands than she does her own stepmother and father.
Well, and that was my last rave, was the ending of this movie.
It's like, wow.
I love it. Because you're right, the Maitlands,
everyone gets what they deserve.
It's Robin,
right?
Call me MJ. But yeah, they set it up at the beginning of the movie that like, okay, they can't conceive,
right,
for whatever reason. It's not something they keep coming back to. It's not something they keep drawing from. It's just, it was fact. It was included at the beginning of the movie. They are otherwise so content with each other in their lives. Their vacation is a staycation.
Yes,
to just be home together. I mean, how fucking great is that? And then Lydia, she's living this life of neglect, basically, with a wicked stepmother and like a workaholic father who's like power/money hungry. And she gravitates towards death and the macabre.
Yes.
And so she can see the Maitlands. But the Maitlands themselves
are so much less horrific than her actual parents.
And so even though she's been driven to this dark, macabre, goth kind of motif, she's met with these two loving,
nurturing people. And at
parents,
one point,
basically. They basically become her parents.
The movie posits that she wants to kill herself
to be with them.
To be with them.
Yes.
Because they've gone.
And they talk her out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, these two who have only, the three of them, as a family unit, have known each other for so little time.
Right.
And yet, both sides care for the other so deeply. The Maitlands are so distraught that Lydia wants to kill herself. Lydia is so upset that her living parents want to manipulate and cash in on the Maitlands.
Right.
Like, they just want to protect each other. And they become this really wholesome family unit at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And, Delia and the father, I forget the father's name.
No idea.
They're still there. And, like, I'm fine with that because Lydia can't just live alone with two ghosts. So, like,
the original script called for them to go back to New York, and the Maitlands were just raising her.
And that
was too much.
That's problematic.
That's the line. Yeah.
There's crossing the line. So, like, I completely believe it in that the parents haven't changed.
Right.
The parents haven't learned a lesson really too much. Although for some reason Delia Dietz writes a book and like becomes a famous artist. And the dad is reading the book on cohabitating with
the handbook for,
I think, cohabitation
with living in the dead and the recently dead, deceased, or
and
something
like
that.
I was fine with that.
Sure.
I was happy for him. I was
and
okay
it was
with her.
They had struck a design aesthetic between what Delia wanted and how the Maitlands had set up the house.
And it didn't work.
No.
Aesthetically. Because
it
was like 6 feet of old house, 6 feet of new house. And then just like checkerboarded throughout the whole house. But fine. Sure. It's a compromise.
Yeah.
And like, so Lydia has her living parents to take care of her physical needs.
Right.
Provide for her, give her a house, food, stuff like that.
Right.
But then she's got her ghost parents that are like
emotional needs.
Her emotional needs and are there for her, or teaching her things, letting her dance with football players in the sky. Like
to Harry Belafonte.
Who was expecting such a happy, fulfilling ending to this movie?
Not I.
Not I either.
Not I.
And I remembered her floating up.
Yes.
And dancing.
I remember, dancing to the music. I didn't remember the football team.
I didn't remember the football team until they showed up. Then I was like, yeah. But I didn't remember like the Maitlands kind of taking over as her parents.
I didn't remember that either.
I didn't remember the Maitlands much at all, which is crazy because they're the main characters of the movie. And I blame that on the animated series because they were in the animated series.
I agree. They are not featured in the series at all.
So it's like this really weird culmination in my head of like, well, what came first? Did I see the cartoon before I saw the movie? And then was I confused?
I'm guessing we both saw the
I would assume
cartoon
because it was more accessible
to
us for the movie.
Movie rather, yeah.
So all said and done, I know we still have big questions, but like I'm just left in such a happy place. I'm up to a 90.
Okay,
I'm up to a 90.
All right, yeah.
My rants,
they're pretty insignificant.
They're diminishing. They are insignificant.
They're insignificant rants.
80s, man.
Yeah.
80s.
But you just bumped up to a 90.
I just did bumped
It's on the cusp of the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
It's a great movie.
It really is.
Right?
Highly recommend.
I respect, if you want to stick with your 88, I respect that.
No. Like, after talking about, like, I legit got warm and fuzzies talking about the ending of this movie.
Okay.
Like, I want to bump 2 points up.
Hey, 10% rant is minuscule.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the things we've watched for this show.
And I would recommend watching Beetlejuice at any time, but it's so good for Halloween.
It is great for Halloween.
It's really good for Halloween.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any big questions?
I have a few big questions.
Okay.
Hope you can give me some
Qs.
Big A's for my big Qs.
Spooky big Qs.
Spooky. Okay. Was there a reason
Hey, babe.
Beetlejuice and the snake on Saturn had the same design aesthetic?
I think that's a good observation. The stripes.
Yeah, the snake looked like Beetle. I was led to believe that maybe in an earlier draft of the script or through editing, Beetlejuice was supposed to be the snake.
Yeah.
And at one point in the movie, I think Lydia says to him, or maybe Brenda, like you're the snake. Someone says to him, like, you're the snake. Like he had been a snake at some point.
Oh, because he when the Maitlands have him show up, he attacks the Dietzes as the banister turns into him as a snake.
Never mind.
So they're talking about that. But I like the connection you're making here with the visual motif.
Yeah.
Between Beetle,
it is
Mr. Juice.
The snake's face is the same like color palette of like the pale white and the greens and the black.
Yeah.
And he wears the striped.
Yes, especially the stripes.
The stripes.
I mean, when you look at this is going to tie to one of my big questions.
Sure.
My big question is what was Beetlejuice's endgame? Like what was his legit endgame here? But that's tied to where did he come from?
Where did he come from?
He? Because let's look at what we know. He was the apprentice of Juno. She acknowledges that. So he at one point had been the apprentice.
Yes.
Okay. He's also been dead for a very long time. Because he references like the plague.
Yes.
In these really fast, quick things. He has been married.
Yep.
Because he has a finger.
He has a finger with a ring on it.
With a ring on it. But he is unlike all the other dead things we see because he has his own look.
Right.
whereas everyone else looks as they do when they died. And so where?
And he is like this like gangrenous moss colored.
Yeah, he looks like he doesn't look like a freshly killed person. He looks like a corpse after some time.
Right.
He
looks as though he was buried alive.
Yeah.
To me.
Well, he's annoying. So maybe he was. And he turned into a snake.
Maybe.
But he can't because he gets eaten by the snake at the end.
He gets eaten by the snake at the end.
So he's definitely not the snake, but I agree they're somehow related.
Right?
Yeah. Or see, now we're getting dangerously close to like a backstory, and I'm not like give them a backstory.
I know, right?
But I'm willing to hypothesize that like no, I'm not willing to hypothesize.
Okay.
He is a mystery. And like I said with my question, like, what was his endgame? Why did he need to marry Lydia?
He seems to be like somehow under a governor.
Okay.
Like, even once you say his name, he is like still somehow restricted.
Yes.
And if he
is somehow restrained, he feels very much like a genie in Aladdin.
Yeah.
There are rules associated with
There are a lot of like you have to say his name 3 times. Yes. You have to like
he can only to his help.
You have to be yes, you have to agree to his help.
Consent.
Even after you say his name, you have to agree to his you have to agree to take his help.
And you can still control him.
You can still control him. You can send him back. And it seems like until he is wedded, he's still bound by rules. And once that happens, he is unchained.
And that is purely us speculating based on clues in the movie.
But it seems like it's a scenario that, like, who would ever agree to marry him?
Yeah.
Except someone who is desperate for his help.
And I agree. That's how it comes off to me, that he has somehow been almost like imprisoned, like his powers have been imprisoned.
And why was he buried in their model? Like, why is that where his grave was?
Yeah, I don't know.
And how did he get out of it to do the TV commercial? And then why was he stuck back in it?
I don't know. No, I think the TV commercial was filmed in the graveyard. In the model graveyard.
Right, but they have to dig him up at one point.
They do, yeah. He was out of his grave.
Yeah. But he appeared before that.
I feel like them digging him up was
ceremonial
like symbolism, of obtaining his power, his help. He was also so much more perverted than I remembered him being as a child.
Yes.
Holy shit, was he perverted.
This movie could have easily fallen into, like, I think when you suggested that we do this, I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to see, like, a 30-year-old Michael Keaton creeping on a 17-year-old Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
And yes, that's part of it.
Yeah, that's part of it.
But
he's creeping on everybody.
He's creeping on everybody, and
he's just a creep.
He is, and it's so often there's like an actor-actress pairing where they're like the love interest, and it's like reciprocal.
Oh yeah.
And this is never reciprocal. And it's like, thank God it's never reciprocal.
And again, I think that was a little of the residual from the animated series, because they were definitely more of a partnership.
They were a partnership.
Not a romantic partnership, but definitely more of a friendship.
Like a Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
A Rick and Morty.
And there is just pure disdain.
Oh yeah. She hates.
Yes. And it's completely one-sided. And his
Beetlejuice.
And his desire to wed her
is utilitarian.
Yes.
He didn't like
absolutely
don't care.
Yeah.
And he says that like I'm not like not attracted to you at all.
Hey, babe.
But, yeah.
Hey.
You're like, not my rules, just gotta happen.
Yeah.
You gotta agree to this if you want.
Okay, so I'm gonna agree with you. We're working up this big A together. I'm gonna agree with you. He was somehow cast out of the Netherworld, but there's like nowhere else to go.
Right.
So his main punishment was kind of to like have his powers
stripped away or contained or governed.
Governed is a good way to put it. And put all of these impossible conditions on it.
Right.
How that relates him to the snake, though. Long-time listeners, make a connection.
If you have a theory, if you know the answer to this, please.
I want to know.
Let us know. I want to know,
listen,
too.
I'm not expecting you to know the answer. I'm not expecting there to be an actual written reason why they're...
I mean, if there is, I would love to hear it.
Awesome.
But if you have a theory, I'd love to hear that as well.
I want it, and we'll share it.
We will
on a midstream.
Yes.
Oh, now my head is swirling around all the possibilities. He was also so gross. I liked, though, that he was perverted because I really looked up to that. I thought that was a strong...
Modeled your life after...
Modeled my life after
Mr. Juice.
I just walk around, hey, babe, hey.
Showtime!
I'm the ghost with the most. No, but what I liked about him being a perv was that, like, he was consistent. He was just gross all around.
Yeah.
And that's a big factor of grossness, too. And, like, so, like, there was no area that was, like, taboo for him. Oh, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to not eat bugs, or I'm not going to defile the graves, or I'm not going to, like, hit on this woman. He would do every despicable thing was open to him.
Yep.
I like that.
That was his shtick.
Okay. My question.
Okay.
This is a light.
Sure.
I have a bigger one, but let's go for a light one. Because I literally missed it in the movie, so I'm hoping you caught it. Why did Juno say it was a good thing they didn't die in Italy? They died, and then they're, like, complaining about it, or, like, trying to work their way through everything, and she goes, oh, you think this is bad? Good thing you didn't die in Italy. And then she says a line after that, and I played it back a couple times, and I could not understand what she was saying. And, guys, it makes great audio, but Shades is confuzzled.
Now that you're saying it, I do remember her saying, you're lucky you didn't die in Italy. It's in the context of something with them. It's in the context of them having driven off the bridge. It's something that's to do with water.
With that, or did it have to do with the people moving into their house and taking over? I don't know.
Oh, was that like a World War II reference?
Maybe.
You're lucky you didn't die in Italy. People moving in and taking over.
Or was there like a stereotype about Italians in the 80s that we just don't know about anymore?
It's possible.
Long-time listeners, if you know why it was good, that
it was in reference to the people moving into their homes and taking over.
Okay. That happens a lot in Italy.
When did JP2 become the Pope?
Oh. 90 sometime?
No, 80 sometime.
80 sometime?
He was shot in the 80s.
Oh.
So he was already Pope in the 80s.
Okay, 80
was that a Pope reference?
Was it a Pope reference?
I don't know. Because he wasn't Italian. He was like the first not Italian Pope in like centuries.
Long-time listeners, if you know why it was good that they didn't die in the 80s, I mean, in Italy, let us know. It reminded me, though, when I was in Italy many, many years ago.
Sketch loves to drop that he went to Italy.
I like to country drop.
Yeah, you do.
Have I mentioned it before on the podcast? I'm now thinking about that.
I don't know if you mentioned it on the pod, but
yeah,
you drop it quite a bit.
Well, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
We were in the Coliseum, and our tour guide was talking about just the sheer number of people who were killed in the Coliseum while we were there. And he goes, I'll never forget this. He goes, and of course, that means if this were England, it would be haunted. And I was like, oh, England burn. But then he was like, but luckily we have the Pope next door. Yeah. Okay, so if you know the Italy answer, write in.
I don't have an answer to that.
Here's my real big question, though. Otho.
Okay.
Otho. Everything to do with Otho. For starters, was he exorcising them at the end? I feel like he was trying to get them to show up, but it felt to me like an exorcism.
So he's reading from the manual.
He's reading from the manual.
The handbook. I think
he's like summon them.
Reading a summoning spell.
Yeah. Just weird that it's in the manual.
Well, I think it's summoning them. I think what it's doing is two things.
Yeah.
It's summoning them and their bodies. Mm-hmm. It's like pulling them into
the real
world.
Because
it's making them corporeal again, but it doesn't bring them back to life.
No, yeah, because you're right. It's making them corporeal, but then they immediately start decaying.
Right.
Because up until this point, they have been totally fine, average human people. You would never think they're dead.
He uses their
wedding garb.
It's like some kind of summoning spell. Yeah, he uses Brenda's wedding dress, Alan's tuxedo. He summons them. were they in? They were upstairs in the attic, and he summons them to the dining room in their corporeal form. Yeah. And of course, their corporeal form is they're dead.
Yeah. So they start to like merge with their dead
forms.
And it gets very Burton-esque.
Very.
Very.
Alan goes to grab her hand
and it crumbles.
Her hand crumbles. Her toes shrivel up.
One of the two of them tries to say
his jaw falls off.
It was creepy stuff.
It was very creepy.
And I was under the impression at that point that he was going to by exercising them. Remember they talked about that room for lost souls?
They go to the room of lost souls.
So I thought
they've been exorcised.
I thought maybe he was trying to get them there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That not intentionally.
Not intentionally, because he was just trying to get them to show up so they could turn this into a gimmick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Money-making scheme.
But then here's the big question. What happened to him at the end of the movie?
Otho?
Yeah, because the last thing we see is Beetlejuice changes his clothes.
It makes him look like Howdy Doody.
Was that Howdy Doody?
Yeah, it's
and then he runs away.
Yeah.
That's it.
He ran away.
That's it?
That's it.
He just ran away.
Yep.
Never to be seen again? Was he in the animated series?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No.
So he really ran away.
He ran away. Yeah. Gone.
He finally bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah.
His big mouth finally
got him in trouble.
I'll accept that. Yeah. He was tampering with powers he just didn't understand.
Did not understand. Could not control.
He truly did know that as much as interior design.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, this is the alterations they made to that house. Oh my God.
Was this the movie? Or am I confused? Cut this out if I'm confusing this with another movie. Wasn't there a joke somewhere about paranormal equals homosexual or something? I'm pretty sure that was in this movie. It's in my other notebook, which is upstairs, and I wish I had it with me right
man,
now.
I don't know. I don't remember that as an Otho reference.
It was something like, oh, he's really into the paranormal now, and someone else was like, oh, is that what they're calling it? It was a little.
I think Lydia says that
to the camera.
I think Lydia says that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that may.
I think that was this movie.
Be accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't notice it, but there is a moment when there's a conversation about Otho between Delia and Lydia.
Okay. It must have been during that time. Do you remember Lydia's outfit in the animated series?
It's basically the outfit she's wearing when she's writing her suicide note, right? It's
a little bit.
It's kind of like the schoolgirl outfit, but every once in a while she has the veil and the updo. Or her hair
she has the updo. She does have the updo. But in the animated series, she's basically wearing a black leotard, but over it she's wearing this red shawl poncho-esque thing that has spider webs on it. It was just such a good visual.
When she goes to the Netherworld. Yeah. When she's in the real world, she's wearing the Catholic schoolgirl uniform.
Sure. I only saw it recently in the opening. And in the opening
she's wearing the spider web red shawl thing. Yeah.
That was such a cool character design.
It was, yeah.
That's just an aside.
And Beetlejuice
it's gross.
Yeah, but he looks less like Michael Keaton and more like
Bobcat Goldthwait.
A cross between Bobcat Goldthwait and Gary Busey's son.
Who's Gary Busey's son?
He was in the most recent season of Stranger Things.
Oh, Jake Busey?
Jake Busey.
Guys,
wow.
Am I knocking your socks off?
He looks like he's a cross between Bobcat Goldthwait and Jake Busey.
Yeah.
And do you know who I'm referencing in Stranger Things?
Yeah.
He kept calling her Nancy Drew.
Yeah. No, I know who you mean. Yeah, because he's obviously a Busey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks very
Busey. A cross. Yeah, and he's always wearing the striped suit.
Yes, and everything about him is striped. When he screams, his tongue is striped.
Yeah,
he's just so fucking gross.
He is
gross. Any more big questions?
Sure. Just this one. I don't know if it's a big question, but why did they send Lydia to an all-girls school?
Why do they send Lydia to... Well, I guess the Maitlands do, right? Because they're kind of parenting. That's a good question. It never really crossed my mind. God, I didn't even notice it was an all-girls school.
Yeah, it's an all-girls school.
I don't know. Maybe it's
for
just
a town that small.
Best
you know what I mean?
In the area, maybe.
It seems like it's a small. There were also a shocking number of children coming out of that school.
Small town Connecticut. It almost, you know what, with the uniforms and everything, it almost felt to me very like a border school to me.
Oh, you mean a boarding school?
Boarding school.
Yeah.
Like
well, she clearly doesn't live
affluent.
there.
No, because she gets to go home because she's close.
She's a townie.
She's a townie. So it kind of had that feel to me, I guess, when the kids let out.
Boarding school?
That like it's a boarding school, but like I don't know, some of the town kids can opt in if they want.
Sure.
She rode her bike, right?
She did ride her bike.
So she's very close
to
it. She looked happier too.
She looked very happy.
Yeah. But she hasn't lost that aspect of herself that lets her see the Maitlands.
The macabre.
Yeah, the
part of her soul.
Which is the
You think it's from you think her mom, some tragedy befell her mom?
Yes.
And that's where she's...
That I read that a lot from Lydia, that something tragic happened to her mom, and that's what brought her to
the ability to see the
edge,
Maitlands.
Yeah, to be able to see into the... That's what drove her to the cusp that she's at. Yeah. I definitely read that into the movie.
Cool.
And Delia's just crazy.
Yeah. Batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Batshit crazy. I have no more big questions.
And that's Beetlejuice. See, we said it together so that
cancels
each other out.
And that brings us to Shades and Sketch recommendations.
Spooky recommendations.
Sketch, what are you recommending?
Ooh.
I will say, when they put the sheets on and they're like, ooh,
yeah,
that was priceless.
You know what I mean, though? Like, that should have been the first. That should have been the go-to.
Should have where they started with, yeah.
Very strange journey they took. They didn't see me ripping off faces. I'll put on these designer sheets. Yeah. Anywho, my recommendation, guys, is Good Eats, The Return. Guys, Good Eats.
Good Eats.
We have been promised it for, I want to say, over a year now.
Oh, man. I think we talked about this in our Comic-Con 2017.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah. We definitely talked about it early in the podcast.
Yeah, we did an emergency geek out about it.
I don't know what happened. I would love to find out what happened. Eventually, we got Good Eats Reloaded, which was some of the classic episodes of Good Eats with updates to recipes, updates to, science that might have been updated over time. But starting in the very end of August of this year, we started getting brand new Good Eats The Return. If you were worried that I think it was a 15-year gap, maybe a little less. If you're worried that it was going to lose something, don't worry. It is as true to form as ever. It's just marvelous. And I'm doing it for the Halloween episode because there is an episode on icebox cake. I love icebox cake, for starters.
You are a proponent of the icebox cake.
I do. I love icebox cake, but there's an episode on icebox cake. And in this episode, Alton calls upon the assistance of a clown. And the clown that he gets is one of the most disturbing clowns I've seen on television.
Wow.
It's legit creepy.
Wow.
And it's not a Halloween episode or anything.
I am in the
unsettling.
I am in the clowns are creepy camp.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of clowns.
I'm not. I mean,
I have had a recurring dream about clowns.
Oh boy.
Like terrifying clowns.
Oh boy.
Since like the age of 7.
Wow. Still having those?
Every so often, I get an update.
We should look up what those mean.
Sure. Long-time listeners,
if you know what
write in.
Clowns in your dreams mean, let us know. Should I say my reoccurring themes in dreams?
Sure.
See if we'll get some answers to these?
Sure.
Okay, so Shades is clowns. That's like your scary, creepy dream?
That's my scare. I'm not, I'm less scared now.
Yeah. But in the dream.
Oh, yeah.
It's unsettling. It's always unsettling.
Kidnapped by a clown.
Okay. Guys, did you think we were going to be unpacking our dreams in this episode? My reoccurring one, which I'll still have from time to time, and from what I've read online, very common. My teeth fall out.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that dream.
At different points in my life, I've had those.
It's supposed to symbolize
like
change,
change,
not being happy with change,
or confidence,
but
or appearance.
I've had it at static points in my life where I'm not undergoing a lot of change. So if you have heard any other theories, as a kid in my dreams, I used to run like an animal a lot on all fours.
Oh yeah.
Those dreams were awesome. Yeah. It was always for good reasons.
Yeah,
I was never like running from a clown.
Yeah.
Who would do that in their dreams?
Oh yeah.
Babe. Yeah. Good eats. Wrapping it right back around. Good eats. The return.
Oh boy. I am going to. Are you looking it up?
I'm looking up the clown so I can show it to you.
Sure. Hoping to trigger a new one tonight.
No, you'll like this clown.
Okay. My recommendation is I've recommended a book by this author before. Its previous work. I'm going to recommend Edgar Cantero's The Supernatural Enhancements. And in the Supernatural Enhancements, we are introduced to a 23-year-old young man from England and his companion, Neve, who is a mute punk Irish girl who's like his protector and companion.
Okay.
They don't have a romantic relationship. They're just companions. And A is notified that his uncle in America has passed and left him his house, Axton House.
Where is it?
In Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And A and Neve leave for the States and they take up residency in Axton House, where events begin to unfold that warp and twist and torment the two, and their journey to survive the events unfolding at Axton House. And it's I just love Edgar Cantero's storytelling and world building and character development. It's another instance where I would love to know what happens to these characters after the events of the Supernatural Enhancements or the characters in this world. And yeah, big recommendation.
Awesome.
I would say probably my new favorite author.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm excited to read more things from him.
I don't think I have a favorite author.
That's okay.
Readings for chumps.
Readings for chumps.
That's what you say, yeah.
I do say that all the time. I don't mean it, but I say it all the time. It's fun to say. My nephews think it's hilarious when I say that. Their parents, not so much.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you read? Like, what's that book? Readings for chumps.
Yeah, and their literacy grades have plummeted, correct?
Yeah. Oh, like horrific.
Yeah, but they don't know. They can't read the grades.
Yeah, so doesn't matter.
It's perfect.
It's okay. Readings for chumps.
Yeah. Children's Corner with shades.
Yeah.
Perfect. I can't find a picture of a clown, so I'm going to screen cap it at home because I have it saved on my TiVo because I want to make that icebox cake, and it's a disturbing clown. So there's some creepy crawlies for you guys.
Yeah,
creepy crawly recommendations for
you. Spooky. I have one. I'll just end. I have one memory of Beetlejuice from the animated series, and it's an episode where they open a clothing store in the Netherworld.
Okay.
And it's Lydia and Beetlejuice, and it's called the Spooky Boutique.
Ooh, I like that.
There was a jingle associated with it.
Oh.
And the only words in the jingle were "Shop till you drop at the Spooky Boutique." And it just played over and over, and like people who came into the store would like be befalled by horrors.
Ooh. But it was in the Nether.
It was in the Nether. And that's the only memory of the cartoon that I have without having looked at it.
There was a reoccurring character of like a skeleton, I remember.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
But I think he was like a bodybuilder, and that was like funny.
A bodybuilder skeleton?
Yeah, get it? Because like he can't actually work on his muscles.
Right. I don't remember that character.
These are you know what? Let's refresh our memories and touch back on it in our midstream.
Sure. Let's see if we can find some episodes.
Yeah, let's see let's see what's out there.
Ooh, spooky.
Guys, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Our third Halloween episode.
From your favorite trick and treat.
If you would like to get in touch with us, you can email us at gowithshadeandsketch@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get your questions. We typically record our midstreams on a Thursday, so try and get your questions in before Thursdays.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So we can respond to them in time.
But
if you don't, we'll still get to them.
We'll still get to them.
Yeah.
We have yet to not answer a question.
Yes.
Or a write-in. We have a good track record.
We do
of that. Sometimes it just takes.
It takes a little while,
depending on when we get the when the old mailbag comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sketch, where else can people get in touch with us?
You could find us on Facebook. Just search Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch.
You can tweet us at Go with Shades and Sketch, or if you'd like to talk directly to Sketch, you can find him at Go for Sketch.
And if you'd like to talk directly to Shades, you can say something historically inaccurate 3 times, and he will appear. Or you can tweet him at Go for Shades.
That is pretty much a true statement at this point.
You don't have to make it to 3.
You don't have to make it to 3.
No.
Where else can they find us? You can find us on our Patreon at patreon.com/shadesandsketch.
We got all sorts of goodies.
Yeah.
No tricks there.
None.
All treats.
Exclusive episodes, exclusive artwork, exclusive content, polls.
You get to weigh in on our upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
And you can support the show for as little as $1. And we'd appreciate it.
We certainly appreciate that. And
Sketch, you going to take anything from this episode?
I am going to take what I think is the most useful thing.
Okay.
The handbook for the recently deceased.
Oh, that
you never know when you're going to need it, but you're going to need it.
You're eventually going to need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So figured get a head start.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. It's like, if you're reading it when you need it, it's already late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might as well have a little base knowledge going into this.
Sure.
Because time acts all
wibbly
weird.
Wobbly.
Yeah. All weird in the neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
Yep.
To borrow a phrase.
That's what I'm bringing. Shades, you taking anything with you?
I'm taking this model of the town.
It's a great model.
It's a great little model.
Of East Corinth, Vermont, a.k.a.
Winter...
Yeah, winter something.
Winter
Heights?
Winter Falls?
Winter Falls?
Winter Falls.
Winter something, Connecticut.
I think it's Winter Falls, Connecticut.
You know what was a nice touch, a nice eye for detail, is that the moving truck that they use is actually from Connecticut.
Is it really?
With an actual Connecticut number and an actual Connecticut town on it.
Wow.
But they filmed it all in Vermont.
In Vermont.
I noticed that right away. Because the first thing I noticed was the area code. Because we've talked about numbers before. Like phone numbers. And I noticed the area code.
That's
and
a real area code.
That's a real area code in Connecticut. And this takes place in Connecticut.
Is it a real phone number?
I didn't actually call it. I mean, I suppose I could.
Was it not a 555?
It was not a 555.
Let's call it. See what happens.
Okay.
And let's ask for the moving company.
Yeah.
That would be we'll update you on the midstream.
We'll have to update you guys on that one.
Yeah.
Because right now, I think they're closed.
Yeah.
Because it's Halloween.
Spooky.
I love Halloween episodes.
It's a good time.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Thanks for potting with me, Sketch.
As always, thanks for spending this All Hallows Eve with me.
Yeah.
And you too, longtime listeners. I hope we've kept you company while you've trick-or-treated.
Hey, don't eat too much candy. You'll regret it in the morning.
Don't egg any houses.
Yeah.
Those are better served in omelets and frittatas.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's
and
hollandaise sauce.
Big apple pancakes.
Oh, I love autumn. Autumn has
man.
The best food.
It does.
I love barbecue, so summer's like great, but autumn has like the best flavor combinations.
Hot chocolates.
Yeah.
Hot apple cider.
Fresh apples from the orchard.
Apple turnovers.
Oh my God. Guys.
We'll see you next time.